Kita mulakan perbincangan kita hari ini mungkin dengan Profesor Syamsul Amri for about 5 minutes, please.
Terima kasih, Saudara Wan. Assalamualaikum, salam sejahtera kepada rakan-rakan semua. Saya ingin mengingatkan bahawa saya rasa tak ramai yang hadir pada hari kemerdekaan 31 Ogos 2007 di mana saya nak tengok berapa orang kat tangan tu kan. Sebabnya rasa saya ketika itu kita ada curfew pukul 6 petang sampai 6 pagi, curfew. Siang merdeka. Jadi in my opinion, we may have independence, but we have no freedom. So we have independence, but we have no freedom. So that is the basis for understanding what is happening today. We are struggling from then on to find a space to create this freedom. It was never with us because we were in emergency, we were in the Cold War. And I think in many ways, we are still struggling to get out of that. And I think one of the biggest efforts done so far, even though you see the 8 Bersih demand, 4 of them is not about electoral role at all. 4 of them, the last 4 is actually about the social system. The social system yang masih kita rasakan terkongkong dan juga tidak memberikan kita kebebasan. Dan saya rasa itu dia isu pokok yang masih kita belum selesaikan. Pada ketika itu dan juga pada tahun 1974 bila ada demonstrasi mahasiswa, itu soalnya kemiskinan. Menarik pada saya kerana ketika itu isu pilihan raya dan sebagainya tak timbul. Tapi yang timbul ketika itu adalah isu bahasa dan juga isu kemiskinan di Bali 1974. Jadi apa yang dapat saya ringkaskan dan saya simpulkan daripada keadaan selama lebih kurang 40 tahun ini adalah kita masih lagi we are still struggling trying to find a space for the freedom that we need. And this expression, adakah ruang itu makin sempit atau makin luas? Pada perasaan saya, banyakkan ruang ini bukan hanya sempit tapi fragmented. Jadi ini adanya media baru membuka satu ruang baru untuk kemungkinan kebebasan itu disalurkan ataupun diartikulasikan. Jadi pada pandangan saya, apa yang berlaku pada 9 Julai dan selepas ini adalah masih lagi akan berturusan untuk mencari kebebasan itu. Tak kira apa bentuk dia, tak kira apa isu dia. Malah kalau isu yang saya nak cadangkan itu macam mana minimum wage, dia akan lebih mengesakan semua orang. We still don't have minimum wage in this country. So perhaps that an issue that everybody can relate to. So jadi ini satu contoh yang saya bayangkan bila saya fikirkan tentang event yang berlaku baru-baru ini. Dan kita tahu satu perkara lagi, adakah isu ini hanya untuk orang kota saja? Bagaimana keadaan di luar bandar? Bagaimana keadaan di rumah panjang di Sarawak misalnya? Ini juga harus kita pertimbangkan. Bukan hanya, this is not an urban issue, but it's becoming an urban issue. So the urban-rural divide has become a real divide in terms of intellectual understanding, in terms of struggles. So are we looking at an urban struggle in Malaysia or Malaysian struggle? So pada saya itu masih lagi belum terurai dan belum terselesai. And any effort towards that is very important. It is very necessary for us to have this conversation. For this reason, I feel Sinar Harian has done a wonderful job of creating this. I will stop at that, and I think, with due respect to Karangkraf, this is not enough for me. Really not enough. When are you going to take to Galas? When are you going to take this to Temalung? Ada wakil Temalung. When are we going to do this? This is not a fun game for the urban people only. We should have this fun outside. Fun here means to talk, to discuss, to converse, and to consult. The word consult apparently only for consultants that get millions of dollars. Consult here. The most important thing is to consult the people. And I think that is one of the areas people have felt very unhappy about. That we are not consulted on many things. But then again, this is a result of a system called representative democracy. You vote a person, and after that you can't control what he does in parliament. You can't control. And one more, you have member of parliament that probably have to follow a course, how to speak, and how to do things, and how to do research, and how to back up their speeches with some real good stuff. Ya. Jadi, pada pandangan saya, while we are interested in all the reform that Dato' Ambiga is suggesting, which I think have to take note, but there are other issues in the political system, systemic in the system, not so much structural but systemic. Bila kita ada representative democracy, first past the post, we will have such problem. Saya juga ada pengalaman melihat apa tu pilihan raya di Australia. Saya duduk Australia lebih kurang 6 tahun ya.
Satu minit lagi Pak.
Dalam 2 election kita tengok sama Bob Hawke dan selepas itu, professional representation itu sangat penting untuk memberi peluang kepada orang yang nombor 2 pun boleh dapat kalau undi gitu. Jadi ini saya rasa juga harus kita pertimbangkan, bukan hanya tweaking the little screws here and there. And I think that's not enough. We have to do a little bit more. I'll stop at that.
Okay, terima kasih banyak. Isu yang timbulkan besar dan I think it goes beyond what Bersih is asking for. But maybe we can start the conversation about the Bersih demands and maybe you can go through the demands for us.
Saya akan mula dengan tuntutan segera. These are the immediate demands of Bersih 2.0. Pertama adalah untuk bersihkan senarai undi. Kedua, mereformasikan undi pos. Yang ketiga adalah untuk menggunakan dakwat kekal. Saya tahu tentang cadangan ya, biometrik untuk biometric system. I will comment on that in a short while. Yang keempat adalah masa kempen minimum 21 hari. Kelima adalah akses media yang bebas dan adil. Keenam adalah kukuhkan institusi awam. Ketujuh adalah untuk menghentikan rasuah. Dan ke-8 adalah untuk menghentikan politik kotor. Yang ke-8 ni adalah ditujukan kepada semua calon-calon, not to easy, tetapi kepada semua calon-calon di pilihan raya. What we want is a high standard of discussion. We want to see our calon-calon talk about policies. Itulah yang that is what sebagai rakyat dan pengundi kami tidak berminat dengan politik kotor. Kami hanya minat dengan polisi-polisi yang mempengaruhi negara ini. Ya. Kami percaya bahawa SPR boleh memainkan peranan yang berkesan untuk menggalakkan kempen-kempen pilihan raya diadakan dengan bersih dan adil. Now, since I only have 5 minutes, I'm going to skip on. First, I will deal with, before I ask for the slides to be shown, let me deal with the question of the biometric system that has been suggested. Now, we are open to any good system. All right, we're not closed-minded about this at all. But I think it is important that we understand what the system is about. What is this biometric system that's being suggested? And I think it is incumbent on the Election Commission to explain it in full to the rakyat. And what I feel are some of the concerns. These are some of the concerns. One is, will it be ready by the 13th general elections? Can we implement the biometric system by the 13th general elections? I suspect if it is soon, the 13th general elections, it cannot be. Because with a system like this, it's a completely new system. You have to do dry runs, you have to make sure it works, you have to explain to the public how it works. And I think whenever you deal with technology, dry runs are important because as I understand it, in polling centers, each classroom, if it's in a school, each classroom will have to have a system. So I think each classroom has to be connected rather. So you're looking at a huge number of computers, you're looking at a huge amount of technology. And what I'm given to understand, I'm not an expert, but I'm given to understand that these things have a way of crashing because it's all happening at the same time. They have to be highly sophisticated, the system. So, as I say, we are open-minded, but we would like to know more. Now, the other thing about the biometric system is you have to rely on the data that is already there. This is the data in the IC department, the National Registration Department. So how that has to have integrity. The data in the NRD has to be one of integrity. That's the other issue that we have to deal with. Now, of course, it must be tamper-proof. You can't have a system that is not tamper-proof. That's the other thing we look at. It's like going to a bank. When you rely on e-banking or you rely on the ATM, you rely on it because you trust it. So it has to be a system the public can trust. And I think that's what is, that is an issue, I'm afraid, because I think people are concerned, what is this biometric system about? Which is why communication with the public is important. And of course, you have to be absolutely transparent in the way in which you get, the tender must be open on this biometric system if it's going to be implemented. Every bit of it has to be transparent. Unless you do that, the public is not going to have trust in the system, and that's the only way the system can work. Now, the other thing is, I am going to go into the issue of, can I have the slide, please?
But you only have 1.5 minutes left.
All right, then I will have to, all right, let me just do this. Can we move to the next one? Right, what we are concerned about is, those are the three phases. Can we have the next slide?
You can look there.
Phantom voters. Here. All right, phantom voters is something that we're very concerned about. That's the definition of phantom voters. Can I have the next slide? Right, dead voters. Let me talk about this for a minute. Now, there seems to be an issue about dead voters. There are many instances where where people have found voters in excess of 100 years and 120 years and so on and so forth. That means they haven't been removed from the system. I understand that the EC's response to that in the election, the booklet that they handed out, was that that the families have not informed the NRD. Am I right? That's one of the issues. Now, I don't know how this works because I can't imagine that we have a system which does not record the death of a person. You can't bury a person without a burial certificate. I cannot believe that the NRD cannot determine whether a person is alive or dead. I find that very hard to believe because the system is so tight. You cannot. The minute a person dies, there's a death certificate. Before you bury, there's a burial certificate. So there's so many processes. So I'm very concerned if our biometric system is going to be tied to the NRD and the NRD cannot trace whether you're dead or alive, I have a problem with that. So that's one of the things we need to look at. Okay, next slide. The multiple registration, that's another issue. This is just an example. There are two, the same person, slightly different in the way the name is read, registered in two different places. These are two people. These are only two people. There are 4 votes there that you're talking about. 4 possible places they can vote. So those are actual examples. I think there are many other examples. Next slide, please. Next one, Jenny. Yeah. Now, even within families, this is an example where within one family, one person votes, the husband votes elsewhere, the rest of the wife and the in-laws vote somewhere in another constituency. So those are actual examples. Next, please.
We need to.
Yeah. How many? Okay, I'll wrap up. All right. Move. Can you please keep moving, Kelly, to the next one. Now, the 3.5 million voters are left outstanding. Now, this is why we are suggesting automatic voter registration. Under the federal constitution, and I will stop at this point, and I'll take the other points in question. Under the federal constitution, and sorry, you have to allow me to read this. This is Article 119. It says, qualification of electors, every citizen who has attained the age of 21 years, and then it has other qualifications about residency, is entitled to vote in the constituency. This is a constitutional entitlement to anyone who is 21 years to vote in this country.